Careful. Do I need to be careful now?
So, okay, we'll have to give it a couple of minutes though, because I'm just going to get the word out here. Let's see. Let me put it on YouTube too. I'm just
I know,
announcing.
Elsa. I'm the same. It's like because I'm used to being mirrored, and so I go the wrong way, and then when I'm trying to like point at stuff, I'm like, oh wait, it's this side.
Copy.
There we
YouTube.
go.
YouTube. There's people coming in already.
There's people.
There's people here. Okay, hang on. Let's see how many people.
Hello, people.
There's 6 people. We still got time. Carmen, quit.
Carmen's first again. This is my brother. I need to have you on the show, Carmen. You need. I would love for you to join me.
Carmen Cortez. Donna
Yeah,
Owens. Oh, wait a minute. How did we end up going on? Oh, I screwed up.
no, you didn't. You did exactly what was supposed to happen.
I screwed up.
Everyone was asking if we would do this, and I said, I actually don't know.
This
I felt like
happened on.
no.
This happened when. This happened when Sandra Walter was on too.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just realized I'm over here trying to get the word out because we're going on to live on the network, but I screwed it up, I guess, or I don't know what happened because I didn't screw it up. I actually did it right, but for some reason it's too late now. Too late
It's
now.
perfect.
Let me just get rid of the post that says we're going live on the. It didn't post. What the F is going? Oh, there it is. Okay, wait a minute.
Welcome to the 777 portal.
Okay, so evidently, uh, the tech has decided to make this on social media when we were supposed to be on the network. So I don't guess anyone's going to complain about that. We got 36 people in the house.
Yep. Yep. Hi, guys.
Okay. Let me just. Yeah, y'all go ahead. Get started. Let me just fix my stuff here. This is ridiculous.
Todd, I think that it's like the theme of this show to be discombobulated at the beginning, at the very least, huh?
I don't. I'm a little bit drained because I've been outside and it's hot as F outside.
Mm.
And I was with my mom and, just exchanging energy and stuff. I don't really know.
So, Elsa, what happened? I'm just wanting to ask so badly. Is it okay that I talk over? I mean, Todd's just typing. Is it
Oh,
okay
let me just go ahead.
What's going on,
Hi.
Elsa? What happened last week?
Um, yeah, it was so I connect with Odin and just then the horse thing happened and then all the dragons. But so when I say that things happen to us, they really do happen in real time. So not only is it through interviews and things, but with people we do sessions with and the children and when we go shopping. So actually it's happening in our real life. And this is probably something that I'm meant to speak about to assist others so that they don't think they're doing anything wrong or their body's in pain or because things just happen and you just go, no, how can that be possible? Is this really like, so it could be as simple as I'm talking to someone in the street and above them, like an orb will go around their head or a cloud will be above their head and it will have a symbol, or I get light flickering and it gives me codes and then I go, over the 3 decades, I'm going, am I crazy? Am I going crazy? But then I notice the family members are picking up on it as well. So this is not just me. They're all doing. So they're tapping in. And then 2020 go on social media for the first time, not just like with just Facebook, and speak to other spiritual people, which I've never spoken to, and they're doing similar things, and they're starting to notice. As I talk to them, they start to notice in their day-to-day, and I go, this is actually a thing.
Yeah.
It's the butterfly effect, yeah. So I go on a Zoom last week with a gentleman who's amazing, and I met him through the presentation up in Queensland. He doesn't know this yet. I can hear his dialect, and he speaks with many. Anyway, I felt like a huge dragon energy come through from him. So I go onto this Zoom, and my first light electrocutes me, and it burnt my hand, and my heartbeat went up, and I went, oh, I don't know if I should do the Zoom, but then I did. I'm doing the Zoom, and then I go to unpack, and my lights break off the stand and explode and electrocute me on the other side, and then my heartbeat was so Richard yesterday said, why can't you just lie down with me? And I said, I'm still buzzing from the last electrocution. And because of the last one. Because of how many times I've been electrocuted since meeting Richard, I'm kind of used to it. I know a few have been really close, so but we've also got Ginger, who's very electrical, so I'm very used to electricity. I'm very aware of it. I understand we're electrical beings, so that's okay. But then I knew what was going on. They have cleaned me out to give me bigger information, and I understand now why they did this is because this information coming through needed to be on a clean slate again. And so I was a bit offended at first because I thought, oh, so you're saying I have more goop in me, but that's okay. It's just my ego going and doing all this stuff, and you have to electrocute me again. What? So I guess I'm sharing it in a playful manner. For me, it was serious. But I'm okay. I'm here.
What day was this that happened?
I'll have to have a look.
The 31st to the 1st of the month, there was I had a really crazy experience that had to do with detoxing as well. So I'm just curious if it may be, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just curious for the date.
No, I was just looking. 1st of September, first day of spring. Yeah. I was like, really?
Same day.
Cleaning?
Same day.
That's really funny. That's one thing I have to say is with all this stuff that happens, as crazy as it is sometimes, or sad as it is, it really does take the heat off having this approach with it. Because this whole it's there's no randoms, so then you start to feel special from it and excited, and you don't get sucked into the ego of it either. Like, by understanding the electrics of it and being playful with, okay, you had to clean me out again, that's all right, I'm okay with that, and being playful with it made me smile, and I guess that would helped me deal with the anxiety of, because I'm not used to having my heart race like that. So the having this playful side of it is, I've said before, it's a serious business because it brings you peace. It really does. It brings you peace, and you go, oh, it is what it is. See. So through being a light being about it, you matter of fact it and ground it.
Right.
And so I'm looking at it more now in a electrical sense, rather than this happened to me and someone's out to get me.
Yeah.
yeah, the world's against me. You just go, okay, okay, okay.
Wow.
One thing I have found really interesting happening, and someone else might resonate with this. So I'll go to bed in a slight, I call it the mind way. So I'll go to bed a little bit annoyed with something that's been said, or I feel out of sorts. So I have that version of it, and then it's like through the night in dream state, the pendulum swings, or
Yeah.
and then I wake up in the morning, and the same feeling or the same word has shapeshifted to give me better insight of how to be better. And I really feel this is part of us becoming, like you guys said once before, hybrids. We're becoming hybrids.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like what's happening now is creation is here to create, and creation is not interested in clones or copies. There's no need for that. So if you're behaving not in your true spin, it's going to get tricky, because creation wants us to create. It's not here for the copies or the clones. That's why it's so important for us to be. The magic hall is literally it's they're asking us to go within and find our own magic hall, so that we can create, because creation is hungry for creation. It's not hungry for the clone. Clone is really not necessary to creation.
Right.
It sounds really harsh. It sounds so harsh when I say it. I know, and I'm trying to look for a softer way to say it, but creation wants creation.
I like blunt. I don't like all that bullshit. So let's say what it is, right? No one ever understands it when we're trying to fluff it and beat around the bush.
Yeah.
I like blunts. I like blunts, but they make me cough. They make me cough a little bit. So,
Yeah.
so this thing with the electrocution, you're saying,
Electrocution.
well, yeah, the electrocution's
Well, one
clearly-
side, then another side, so you got balance. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
So, are you saying that you cleaned out? What do you mean cleaned out? Like, is it like a purge, or what would you say? Is it? Are they the result like a purge? I mean, is it like a restart? What is? I'm asking because I can relate to those things.
Yeah. Well, a lot will relate to it. The day before I went on a date with Richard, they took me up big time. I think that was a near death, but no one was there.
Okay.
And I don't know how long I was out.
So it's like a reboot,
Yeah. I felt, so, I laugh. I kind of get a little angry with them, because I realize that we've been called in, so I'm okay with that. Then I'll go and find ancient text, and they're talking to me and saying that we do this all the time or something like that, to reboot. So I understand the energies that have come through after that will rattle a lot, will seem really crazy, but really doesn't matter at this point anymore. So maybe this they've shown me that we're returning to ant. And it's before man. And they've shown me that Kopali, the ant this connection with Todd and Pamela with Odin is no random. There is no random. We are descend ants, ascend ant. We are arc ants, and we are part of the giants. We have had our wings either folded back or removed, like Maleficent.
Mm-hmm.
And Maleficent in my life was huge because she was my biggest fear as a child. And Maleficent is about a love story. It's not about love story as in how Hollywood interprets it or Disney. It's about true love. And it's a love that even the great Maleficent had no control over because it's within. And it makes you rise above the anger, rise above the sadness, and love is just so, it's the life force that carries us through here. The ant, Todd said the third eye kiss, and I've never thought of it like a third eye kiss, but I know a lot of cultures kiss there with their forehead to forehead. This is how ants communicate. Mm-hmm. Ants understand each other. Ants walk in alignment. Ants work together. And when ants become too close together, as in they don't allow each other space, they go into the death spiral.
Will do what? So when two ants come too close together, they go into a death spiral?
No, in a colony.
Oh, okay. Okay, two colonies.
And I saw the death spiral, and the death spiral is, a lot of animals do it, but for ants, they do it to exhaustion, and they call it the death spiral.
Wow.
And this is what's happening is others are not allowing enough space for each other, and they will get caught in the spin. That's not going to be for the highest good for them. And they can't get out of it. It's like a magnetic thing. And so how do you assist those who they have a hint of they're in the death spiral? Mm-hmm. And I say dandelion. Just eat dandelion. I just you can fix yourself. It doesn't cost. You don't have to buy a lot of things. You can do this. Pamela makes dandelion coffee.
Mm-hmm. It's yummy.
From dandelions, or you buy it?
From dandelion root. There's a lot about dandelion, but the short version, the reason that it's illegal in the state of the country of the U.S. It's illegal to have dandelions in your yard. It's illegal. It's against a federal law.
Is it a Schedule 1 drug or what?
They call it. They've classified it as a invasive weed, and therefore it is a enemy of the country, basically. And anyone who propagates it is an enemy of the country. It's a really big thing, and I didn't realize how big of a deal it was. Anyway, long story short, though, you can use the dandelion, all parts of it, for a lot of amazing things, and one of them is the root is really, really useful. It can be used for many different purposes, and what I like to do is dry it and grind it, and it tastes like a mild, medium coffee. It's just, and then I do pour over coffee kind of thing with it, and it's really delicious, and it's so good for you. When dandelion comes to any place to grow, that place is being prepared for more things to grow there. Dandelion can grow through the hardest ground, the most packed down ground, when you'd have to go in and till it's just, and dandelion will come into these places and irrigate and make it possible for other things to grow, for flowers and then trees and then
Wow, that's
so on and so
trippy.
forth. And it's against the law to have them.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck that.
I
Hey,
know.
look at this comment that Angie Parker put up. She's going to be doing a show. She's been around Soulogy for probably 8 years, 9 years, maybe 10. She said, I gave a jump start to a mother and her adult son traveling from the hospital in their van. She said the battery is new. It must be electrical. They had not yet figured out why the van would not start. She said her son was hospitalized with electrocution burns, and she herself experienced similar. I did not ask what caused the electrical hits. I just felt a space of compassion. Well, that's pretty strange.
Wow.
I mean, there are no mistakes.
Yeah.
Just like this, I just programmed this thing to go on to the network, and it went on to social media. Dandelion root, this is from Delia. Dandelion root is detoxifying. You can buy it in tea. It supports detoxification of the internal system. You can ingest all of the dandelion. It's a majestic flower. And Susan Bornstein says,
Wine.
now here's another connection. This also reminds me of those freak electrical storms. The one in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Which is where Anna is, Boise, Idaho.
We just had a crazy one too. In fact, a lightning struck right next door.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool because the power went out before it hit. Like, that was really weird. The power went out and then it hit. And the power came back on right as it hit and then went back out again. It was really weird. But that was cool.
What is going on here? Did you see that?
I tell you,
It's like
they
the
gave
second or
image.
third flash I've seen. Is that me?
Oh,
Did y'all see it?
you're always flashing. I always see you flashing at specific times too. Like when you talk about higher consciousness, it's usually your head that flashes out.
Oh, weird.
And then like you'll leave your body. You'll talk about being outside, and like your whole body will disappear just as you say it. It's always just like a picture book.
So, what is the deal with the electrical thing? Because you got this thing Angie's talking about. Candace Coe was talking about it in the first comments. I went to go see who it was because it was coming up, Facebook user. Somebody else just said something. We were having power surges 3 or 4 days ago. Okay, I've read several more accounts of people losing power and other weird things happening. Is there some kind of relation? Because your family seems to be like the on the front end of the of the experiences. But do you have any idea, Elsa?
So where Cookie and Eddie passed, where the rainbows were, where our car accident was, where a few other incidents is on the power lines. Where the rainbows touched the 1 to 5 power pole lines. We've had our power lines, they had to come and lift them higher. They literally had men, 20 men here lifting all our power pole lines a meter higher. I told Pamela and she thought it was funny. I was like, yeah, high energy, really funny. Okay. So everything seems to be following this power line, but so we took Eddie and Cookie down the creek and we did a clearing on all the power line poles here. And you said I think you had 6 dragons or 6 beings, Todd. No, you had 6 poles. I think it was or 5. I can't remember, but it was the same. And we did freedom from power lines to the highest good. Ever since then, the solar flares have booted up. Look, I'm not saying I'm doing this, but in my experience, I am. And in your experience, you are. And what's happening is we are literally triggering the sun. The sun is us. The sun is our soul. The reason we're called soul is because of the soul, the sun. And It is us. We are triggering the sun. The sun has melted the asteroids that came by, and the plasma dust is coming onto us. This is why we're having all these ascension symptoms that Pamela's helping us through. Some of this upgrading has been quite painful on a lot of our bodies, but it's affecting the electrics, it affects the cars, it affects the animals. They knew this time was coming. They knew that we would tap in to the ancient ones. They just didn't know how, and they thought they were going to do it through the indigenous. This is why they have been so hard on the indigenous cultures around the world. They just weren't ready for the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, the ones that are tapping into it are the chosen ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're the chosen ones, they're the Magi ones, they're the gifted ones, they're the ones witnessing themselves, and it's the reversal of the matrix.
It's returning.
Yeah.
We're all electricity. Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what ants are big EMFers. We call them EMFers. They love
What does that
electrics.
mean? Electric motherfuckers? Is it what that stands for?
No, EMF.
Look at all these comments though. McAllen, Texas, has been losing power more often than ever. Yeah.
We've had it all around the world too. Like
it's
we've
what it
had
sounds
people
like.
contact.
Last night it cracked and made connections to the living tree. 12 organic living tree woke me up last night. 141. This is Delia. Then there was another one here. We had 2 batteries and 2 separate cars go within a week. Also random brake light issues. I've noticed it here, and there's some other ones in here too. Sorry if I'm skipping, but I just wanted to point out that other people are mentioning this. Go ahead.
It's been happening a long time. This has been happening for like 3 years. I've had to change the battery in my car like every 6 months. Like it's really common. It's just picking up. Like that's where most of those like places that the YouTube content people providing content, I mean, about Schumann resonance and stuff, they'll include the outages, the power outages globally, because we're seeing the electric flux. The image that was given when Todd asked the question at the beginning of Elsa of why were you electrocuted, or what was the restart kind of thing, and they showed, those like those red toys. It's like called an Etch-a-Sketch, and you can like the knobs, and you make them okay. What they did was they took the Etch-a-Sketch and went. That's what they were doing. That's it. They're starting over. It's like we have all these neural pathways that we have been utilizing, which have been useful for the life that we were leading. And that's done now. We're now doing the out breath so we can breathe in the new world energy, right? And so we have to like breathe out all of this stuff. This is another example. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Another example, you'll see a lot of people talking about you have to leave your baggage before you can get on this train or the next. We're just reset. We're just resetting, and we're going to reset again. And it's becoming more stabilized. It was a joke for the longest time that whenever I was doing a healing on my sessions, that the power would go out. And it would be a 3-block radius only around where I live. And it would go, and I have proof. I have all this video. It's really crazy. And it's just something that we all have happening. And because we are electric beings, when you pull back, we look like electricity.
We find the power goes out before electricity because they need it, because it's being interfered with. So they collect energy from the system. They power out. You'll see the lights flicker, and then you'll see the big lightning flash, and then you hear the thunder, and then the lights come back on. So I agree, because as a kid, the power would go out after the flash, right? And then sometimes you'd hear the thunder, right? That's how it used to go as a kid. But now, in Crazy Land, the lightning doesn't even hit the ground. The lightning goes across the sky. And I say to the kids when this happens with the lightning, I say, it never used to happen like that. And then I go, oh my gosh, I sound like a grandma. But who thought that I would ever be speaking about lightning? And lightning at the moment has kind of shapeshifted because it's not behaving how it used to, because it's being interfered with. So I am acting a bit like a granny. It never used to be like that.
I think you're right, though. You're right. I've noticed that this year here. I've noticed it because when the lightning goes, it goes all the way across the sky, and the thunder rolls like I've never heard it roll before. It'll like roll for like 45 seconds, a minute 15 seconds, a minute and a half, and there'll never be like this finality to it. It'll just go like that. And then weird stuff happens, like the other day when we were having these surges on Monday. That was really weird. It was almost like when a compressor is cycling and it's pulling that extra, when you hear it cycling like a refrigerator or a little freezer, and it would surge, and then it would drop, and then it would come back on, then it would drop, and then it would come back on. And I know other people that day because I saw it on social media that were having weird stuff happen like that.
Mm-hmm. And the lightning in the clouds looks different. There's a whole bunch of footage about it over the past couple of days and weeks, especially these past few days, of just like you said, there's never a strike. It's like, it's really cool looking. It's really, there's so many examples of it. I'll send you guys some of it, but like, it's just people taking footage in all over the country, all over the world of just it. And it's not that it's flash. It's like flash, and it's just not stopping. And it just goes for hours in some occasions. It looks like there's some kind of other thing happening behind the curtain of the clouds.
So what do you think it is? Do you think it's fuckery, or do you think it's like you're talking about, like we are the soul, we are the sun, El Sol, and we're overriding whatever is happening? Like whatever fuckery is being attempted is just being hugely superseded by us. It's like futile, like what are they going to do? Like what can they do? It's you're like fighting universal nature.
Yeah.
We got a shitload of co-pilots here on the earth. What do you think it is? Is that what you're saying? What it is? Like it's due to us? Yeah. Okay.
It definitely is, and there all are for sure some other energies, but the example of those energies are like the toddler that's throwing their toy at you because they don't want to go to bed. They're not going to do anything. I mean, like what? They're going to scream louder and turn your radio up louder. You win. You know what I mean? So it's not anything to be afraid of, and it's activating when we find ourselves in a position to have to or to want to stand up and change the frequency of where we're standing. Then we get to see we can. For instance, you get to the point where someone just pushes you over to your limit, and you're just like, no, and it's like, whoa, cool, look, I just did, and that's kind of what we're doing too. Is there's a lot of activation. We are electric bodies. We do, and the thing that I only just started seeing this type of thing like the past 6 months, as I see energy and everything, but inside people's bodies, like you can go down now in a microscopic way, like you're riding, like you're surfing their highway of light in their body, and these teeny tiny, like smaller than hair pathways of light, like these fiber optics, go throughout your entire body. It's really cool. And like different colors and stuff. There's like a white theme, but there's like a faint glow of all the different colors. 144 actually is kind of what I've always seen it with. Anyway, so and we're learning to open up that block at the base of your heart chakra and letting that light move down into your solar plexus and this area and farther down, where we haven't been doing that before. That part of the body's in distress. That's why so many people are like, oh, like this lower part of the body's struggling, this and that. It's that it's asking for the light to be guided there. Because we naturally, when we don't feel very good, we put healing. We don't realize we're doing it, and we're intention of sending that electricity, that light, which is the same thing, to the spot. That and so we're getting to have better flow. I went on a different tangent. I apologize.
You're fine.
So electricity is eel. So eel leaves, so snake, right? Eel leaves, and then the cousin, friend, brother, whatever you want to call it, thunder goes underground. Thunder goes under the ground. So this is the way electrics comes into being here, through the way plasma intelligence comes into our energy with the new water beings that pass, is it comes in and has fallout on Earth. So when the symptoms come from everywhere around the globe, so whether that be the electricity shorting out or pain in the body is very similar around the world. Don't know if that's so much interference here. I think it's more galactic. So our energies have created the solar flares, I believe. The solar flares melt the asteroids, the plasma energy comes to Earth. Where does the intelligence go? Well, like Pamela said, it's got to start from the ground up. So it goes to the base. And, you know, and I've heard all around the world, the left side of the body seems to be getting hit harder. Yeah, and then it comes up. And like Todd said, he's coughing a lot. Well, we've had 2 horses die from mucus. And you know, our poor little girls came in. They're not poor, but they come in last night and said, Mum, 2 other huge Instagram horses have passed on around the world. These are international Olympic riding horses. This is not just the farm in Australia. This is happening everywhere around Australia, but also around the world. And these horses are in amazing condition. Some are in paddocks. Some are there all, and they're having the mucus effects, and their bodies can't handle it. Their bodies are not designed to handle mucus in this intense form. So the thing with us sharing is we go, okay, you know what it is. Don't panic. Don't go and take more medication. You can deal with it with these just taking lemon juice or apple cider, or you don't need to go and give yourself more medical symptoms from it. And also you don't have to go and feed the system, because as soon as you go to the hospital, you admit that you're going to hospital. So hospital is ghost guest pit collection stories, and they don't share them. So when you admit that you're going to hospital, this is the trickery in the word. So you're literally casting a spell. Now, the information that they have in the hospitals is taught to them. It's not shared, it's taught. They actually have to pay to be taught. And it's not, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair at all. This is not how it used to be done. And it was to heal someone in the villages, and you didn't pay for that. They did it because they cared about their community. They cared about each other. They realized that if they didn't have the blacksmith or the grandmother or the daughter, they wouldn't work as a community. They cared for each other, and this is the new way. And if you need to, we need to find our inner strength and realize you can do this by sharing the symptoms around the world. We are playing Jenga with a big system, literally, because Pamela sharing this dandelion tea or coffee might stop quite a few medication purchases for that year. Are you seeing how the matrix is being broken down in ways that they are not expecting?
Yeah.
It's not going to come from a president. Oh, come on. Really? We've been down that road. How many times do you have to go down that road? It's going to come from you and I.
Yeah.
The mums and dads, it's the neighbor. Yeah, that's it. They know that.
Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
Sorry, there's a time delay.
They keep calling these things weeds. Is the thing too. Just like you're talking about these useful tools. They've been called weeds. My grandfather used to say, "A weed is a plant you don't know what to do with yet." That's just it. When in 2018, okay, I started to notice all of a sudden there's this plant called mullein, Mullien. Some people call it lamb's ear. It's called other things in different places. We've always known in my family that this is you harvest this when it's the size of a lamb's ear, and you let it dry and use it as tea. It's the best thing for any upper respiratory ailment you could ever have. Or you can wait till the plant grows to where it's flowering and put the flowers in a jar, like a mason jar, with either honey or sugar in the window with a lid on over through the summer, and it turns into the best cough syrup that you'll ever have. My kid pretends she has a cough because she wants it. Anyway, all of a sudden in 2018, this plant was everywhere and it became a problem. The locals started spraying to try to get rid of them because they were such an invasive weed. An upper respiratory solution was naturally being given to us by Gaia. And I told my friends, I said, there's going to be something happening soon. And then the end of 2019 into 2020, all of a sudden, everyone needed something for an upper respiratory ailment. And it was all over the world. It's right in front of you. It's being given you, and it's just, all we got to do is look, and look past what you're told that is, that a dandelion is a weed to get rid of, that these things, there's 7 main medicinal that you can find anywhere. Rose hips, dude, rose hips are everywhere. Like, you, at least where I spend my time, maybe not in like the Bronx, but, anyway, these plants, you can look it up too on the internet really easily. The topmost healing or medicinal plants that you can find naturally or something like that, and you will find so many things. The last thing I want to add really quickly to this is that I came from a world of social work. That was the job that I took. I wanted to help people, and so I was a social worker. And I found out as I was leaving this world that my job was to medicate people who don't have intellectual properties in order to make their own decisions. And they are still using human guinea pigs right now.
Say this again. What are you saying?
The way the pharmaceutical world is working. Anyone who does not have independent rights to themselves in these group home settings with intellectual disabilities, considered adults because they are past the age of 22 or 21. Right. My job was we would take them in either every 3 weeks to every 6 months and have their therapeutic levels checked. They'd have their blood checked to see what their levels were of these medications. And then they would be giving them more and more and more every time. You'd never take away the other medications. Mortality rate of people with intellectual disabilities is around 50 years old. And that's like lucky if you get to be 50. Why is it assumed that that's regular? It has nothing to do with the fact the person has an intellectual disability. It's because they're guinea pigs. And then the staff, their job is to meticulously document different behaviors and things. And then they can compare and see what side effects happen when you mix 15 of this thing with this thing.
Right. Okay, here we go. So if you look back at the last 100 years, this shit's been going on globally. All right. If you look at the Nazi concentration camps,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
the exact same template. You can look
Same
at
people.
Bill Gates bullshit in Africa. There's other accounts, the Tuskegee Airmen, Hawaii, Canada, Australia. So I think, and first let me say this, whatever and whoever is up to whatever they are, fuck them. They can't hurt us. We love them, but fuck them. Don't be afraid of them. Elsa said it a second ago. Every time we go and get a driver's license, every time we go into the hospital, we're consenting. What did you say? Admitting. We are admitting ourselves. We are giving our power away. That's what this whole thing is. And there's some physical properties that are obvious. And if you look back 100 years, that's about when the vaccines started coming out, right? If you go back and read the Egyptian book of Living and Dying, okay, you can see where there were control mechanisms in place by the authors in that book.
Mm-hmm.
You can see where there was a template of creating a narrative, right? And through the operation of the narrative, which is the control of the consciousness, they controlled the beings. And then you start to have all this stuff. So now the reason I'm bringing this up is because what we're going to find out here, what everyone's so concerned about, like we don't want to tell the public, we don't want them to know, they're not ready for it. It is a crazy, wild narrative. And we have been guinea pigs. Okay? Mm-hmm. We're being watched. We're being observed. But it doesn't mean that those forces are greater than we are. In fact, we're greater than them. Because they're in fear. They're trying to control. We're not. But this, I think, was starting to come up last week, is that disengaging from it all. Like, we're going to be brought to this point. It's just like this thing with the lightning and the thunder and the electricity. It's bigger than us, and we're doing it. And the minute we start to realize that we are we're the cause of the tech issues on these shows, we're the cause of the electricity doing weird shit around us, or somebody was writing that when they walk by, the light bulbs go out or they burst or something. When we start to really understand that we're the ones doing this, these folks that have been literally had the information, we can call it the esoteric knowledge, the secreted esoteric knowledge, they had heaven on earth in their hands. That's the truth. They had heaven on earth in their hands, and they decided to keep it for themselves by design, yes, whatever the case is. But I think this is the whole trick. This is the whole trick. You know, they talk about the world isn't ready for what's really going on. That's not the case to me. That's not the case. Will there be some turmoil and all that stuff? You could talk to that because you got that in that vision a few days ago. But it's because we know this. They don't want us to wake up. And I hate to even use the terms they, because I consider them our playmates. But I guess what I'm getting at is, like you said, they're going to try anything. It's a last-ditch effort. But, you know, the minute we understand that this template has been in place for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years, and it's really accelerated in the last 100 years, especially since World War II, and you've got the same players. Just like we talked about a few weeks ago, I think on your show, we talked about from the Orion, Lyran wars, from that period, the Galactic Wars, you got the same people playing the same roles, generations and ripples down to 2023 on planet Earth. It's just a matter of connecting the dots, and I think that's a big part of these memories coming back in. But this whole thing with what would seemingly be natural phenomena around us is fascinating. And the other thing I find fascinating is we know that for 50 plus years there's been serious weather manipulation. But even in that situation, who's really controlling the weather here? It's us, right? Like Elsa said about the sun, right? I mean, so it's such a paradox. I just find it amusing and fascinating that somebody put that comment up there too, that even I think it was Candace, even the fuckery is work. We convert it, we transform it. It works to our advantage,
Sometimes you can't tell which is which.
True.
Go ahead, Elsa.
You said which is which. I love that. You two say that so much. You don't realize how much you two say that. Which is
Really?
which. Yeah. So which is great for me because I love that, because it is which is which. Okay, so do we go with the witch or the witch? And the witch who has the black hat and the big wart on the nose is just the one that understands. That's it. And they were male and female. They weren't just females. So when we say which is which, that's the choice point where your breath and will come in. What's interesting is it's all in front of us, and this is things you've heard, David Icke say. It's all been in front of us, and the symbols will be their undoing. And boy, oh boy, is it really their undoing? It is literally everywhere you walk, everywhere you read, the sight, not so much in nature, but their undoing is before them. It's being pre-sent to us, pre-sent-ed. And I like that because so this is where the confusion comes in. And the word Confucius and confusion are very similar as witch and witch. It is confusing because we've been taught the time program, but once we realize that there is this choice point and the information is before us and it has been presented, who's who? Who's they? Are they actually helping us through pain and contrast? Are they helping us? So then this anger towards they becomes, well, it's just a matter of fact. Okay, I can't change that, but I can change my next step. I can change my next word that comes out my mouth. I can change where I go and spend my money or where I put my energy. Basically, you start to treat money as energy. And you realize that that saying, you don't need a piece of me. You're taking a piece of me. Well, this piece of me, I am not going to put there. Mm-hmm. And Gemma's getting her qualifications to be a kinesiologist, and she came into the room and she said, whenever you don't fulfill your path or you make a choice for someone else's spin, which, how can you do that anyway, really, when you think about it? You're doing something to please someone else. She says you abandon a piece of yourself there. And now we have to go back and collect on those pieces of us. Mm-hmm. And some of us have, incarnated many times, so they're having to go through not just this lifetime, but they're going through that lifetime. It's a lot of pieces to collect. Yeah. But wow, when you collect those pieces, what a higher breed you will be.
I just did that. I did something like that. That was weird. Was that weird that I said that?
It's kind of cute. I just did that.
No, I mean, just no,
Yeah.
you reminded me of
No, it's
something. I'm
cute.
sorry, and I
It's
didn't
cute
really
because
mean
you just
to
matter of
make up
fact
new
it.
words. There's this Lemurian thing that's making sense. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to change the subject. Go ahead.
Well, it's cute because you're saying, yeah, I just did that. I had to go and do the grocery shopping, and then I went to Lemuria. And I had to talk to all of that, and I had to collect all the information, and then I had to come home and cook dinner. Like, you're matter of facting it. So now you are one of the Magi ones, and you're creating it as a practice in your day to day. And I'm not saying you're just doing it now, but I'm just giving an example of others, but starting to do this. You just incorporate it. It's not your whole world. It's just a piece of it.
Yeah.
And it's great that you've shared that because
That's
Lemurian's huge, right? I just did that.
that's where it all started. I didn't even realize it. Like, I always had the memory of like being like remotely experiencing people incarnated on this planet, and like, but like not wanting to come and just watching a nebula form. That was the first soul memory I had, is that my dad had put on some program about outer space and showed some images, and I was like, I was there. And I remembered it, and that memory of floating there, being like, screw all of you, I'm not going back. Forever, and like, and energy's coming to me and saying, come on, and I'm like, no, I'm staying here, I'm good. And it made me have this unique experience that because of this, I remotely experienced all these lifetimes being had on this planet while I wasn't incarnated. Made it so I can access these lifetimes as if they were mine. And so it's easily confusing. I can't tell the line between I couldn't tell the line between past life and like Akasha, basically, until this memory of this, what had happened in Lemuria. Todd actually did it for me. He explained, said something. I don't remember it. It was such a crazy week, but
Last week,
yeah, with that divine masculine.
I think that so I don't know. I mean, I know that like the Lemuria thing, that's where this invasion took place, or whatever you want to call it, which essentially energetically was this huge, distorted, powerful, masculine, domineering, misogynistic energy came in and fucked up paradise. But I also remember at least one occasion of the last part of Atlantis. And then Anna had on Authenticity, this lady, I can't remember her name, I'm sorry. She talked about being a crystal holder in Atlantis. She talked about having a memory of essentially betraying the collective for love. She was, did something wrong with the crystal. Now, that's why I'm bringing it up. She's not the only one I've heard say that. I've heard probably over the years, almost a dozen people say they were crystal holders in Atlantis, and a few of those talked about how that got all fucked up. So what I was getting at was the pattern of overall, the pattern of the civilization we might call Lemuria and Atlantis, even though they may have overlapped, and we don't have to get all caught up in the details, but the patterns are the same. Mm-hmm. The patterns are the same. And here we are again, and the patterns are the same, but the game seems to have run out. Like, imagine being in a paradise and being on Lemuria, and these guys come out of a spaceship, and this is high level stuff. We're talking like portals, we're talking stargates, we're talking all kinds of sacred geometric gears and buttons and that are all being infiltrated and possessed and contained. I think that the biggest thing coming is is the narratives and the apparent reality absolutely being shattered, and that's opening up. That's going to open up all this to everybody, and I feel like that's what we're getting ready for. We're actually getting ready for the supernatural in us to be that. So like when we talk about, oh, you need to be out of judgment and you need to be in compassion and you need to clean up your side of the street, and this is all fine and dandy, but it's not to be a good person. Not that it's not being a good person, because there is no being a good person, right? We're just love, right? So I feel like it's actually preparing us for the shock of the superhumans that we are. Because again, if you go back and you look at some of the research that's coming out now, and I'm talking deeper than Graham Hancock and Randall, what's his face? I'm talking about accounts that are in writing that talk about these super beings that planted and seeded these civilizations, right? They had these powers. That's us. That's us, and that's what we're coming out of here. The dream is all this bullshit here. The dream is the apparent space between us and the time that doesn't exist. I mean, we're I feel like we're really close, and I think that's where the shock's going to be. And I could be wrong, but I feel like that's where the shock's going to be. The shock is when I walk into the streets at night. I go there. I say, you're a fucking giant. This is all you and your fam. This is all of you, right? Like I just imagine us being like bigger than skyscrapers, and there's 12 or 144 of us walking the earth. It doesn't mean that there's 144 out of 8 billion. It means that 8 billion constitutes the 144. You know what I mean? Like we're not singular to the level we think we're singular. We're still part of energy complexes and composites at all different levels. Like the three of us and a number of other people could be an energy complex 2 dimensions and 5 floors up. I mean, so I just feel like the minutia, the even like in the lightworker circles, the little points of contention, the little projections, the little issues of expectation and judgment, all that shit, just to me it's become like fingernails being scratched on the chalkboard, and I'm just like done with this shit. Let's make let's do what we're doing. Let's make some shit happen. Let's create crazy, fun, wild, unorthodox stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like. I guess that's what we're doing. Go ahead.
You said a pear ant. You said it like twice or 3 times. Are you kidding? So this is what we are. An ant, if you look into ant energy, ant can lift 50 times its own size or something. It's crazy. Ants have little hairs all over their body. These are the same hairs we have, and I'll be talking to Magi ones like Todd and Pamela, and they will say words like this, and the hairs on my arms stand up. This is electric. This is the charge. You said, let's this is electrics. This is the charge. This is electrics. This is the charge. We are frequency. This is all about frequency. Frequency does not understand ego, and it doesn't understand sad or happy. It's just frequency. That's it. So if you choose that way to be that way, then that's the frequency you're picking. That's all it is. So when another person that is spinning in alignment with you says a parent or a word, or they do something, or they show up and your hairs on your arm stand up, this is your origin calling. This is your oversoul. This is who you are, saying, I feel them through the electrics of my body. I get the goose pimples. I get the gut feeling. This is you connecting in. If you're connecting in, keep going with that, because this is the way it's going to work with the power. You
It's
can't
111.
work with things that are going broke. Sorry. You can see things are falling apart, and they're, like Pamela said, they're having more tantrums and they're throwing more toys. You can't buy into the broken, because it's already broken. It's only going to break more. Go with the ones that feel good. Be around the ones that make you feel good. The ones that are broken, they will follow when they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
They just need more dandelions.
Great. Just listen to your body. Your
You are
body tells you
dandelions.
what it wants, right? Your body's always calling for what it needs. It's always telling you, and we don't even realize it. I cut you off because it was 111. Sorry, Elsa. You mind if I add something? The story about this global weeping, that I thought it was like just a few of us. This was a really big deal. And so everyone's getting electrocuted, some kind of interaction with electricity, and this mournful sob. This is happening globally. And when we understand that we're not, that other people are doing it, it makes it easier to do. That's why I wanted to say it, is that, I'm still surprised by how many people are having this happen. And then it's something that was from an earlier part of the conversation, but I feel like it needs to be said, is that, every so often the CIA declassified their documents, right? And in 2016, it was from 1946, declassification. This document, they had said that they were going to use a word called conspiracy theorist, and they were going to send it out to all the radio stations. And so it's called them a bad person, and it's like ostracize them and stuff. In this same document, they had invented what they were calling ADD. And this was so they can convince the parents to give the children these medications that are known to what they called close off or turn off the God complex of the brain, by using this medication as a means of basically stopping a whistleblower before they become a whistleblower. This was in a document that you can find. Just to, and that was the beginning of when they just absorbed the Nazi Germany.
That's exactly right. And again, why is it important? Well, just because it goes into your awareness, and you can see the same template used over and over again. If you go back, it's just that there's more technology. If you look at the contemporary, or at least what we think is contemporary, and okay, so if you had the Nazis win World War II, populate the CIA and NASA, okay, then, and you had the practices that were occurring in, in the Third Reich, were continued, and that is to basically, we're guinea pigs, right? And it just keeps going up the ladder. But I think that having the awareness of it is where the God, what'd you call it? The God complex gets turned on. They can call whatever they want to call, whatever they want to call, but it's become more and more clear. And we've been saying this for a while. But I think I asked the lady yesterday, Joe Gifford, that was on, that lady from Australia who's been doing this for like 35 years, that are we at the point now where once we become aware of something, that's it. The transmutation takes place. There's no modality necessary. There's no process necessary. Yes. It's literally going, oh, that's reality? So that's what I see it like. That's why I see it. It's almost like we'll skip over. We need to go hang the bastards. We need to burn them in an electric chair. We need to, we'll skip over it because our level of consciousness will be so high that we'll understand that was nothing. just dirt on the shoulder, just nothing. I mean, and I think that's the reason that the information it's so vital to share it, especially the personal stuff, because what's happening in the personal stuff, like this lady that was on Authenticity the other day, the one that was talking about Atlantis, talking about that situation where she betrayed her role as a crystal holder for love, right? Like that's so classic for all of us, right? I mean, and then she had some other recollections, and in those recollections, there seemed to be like information tied to the past life memory, with and without people involved in the present day. Well, this is the kind of real coding that's getting triggered. Like, if you took like the three of us, right, and we sat down in a room, and we wanted to, we could connect where we've overlapped, where we've connected, where we've connected previously, or parallel, or whatever you want to call it. Like this is like wildfire. That's what's wild about it, because the more, the faster, the bigger. Like, we don't even know what's happening to us. Like, you take something like a Soulogy Fest, and you get all these people come, because I've seen it happen, and they walk away not even realizing, me included, what the hell happened. And you carry it with you. It just reverberates with you. It just goes on and on and on, and then the next thing you know, you're coming back together again. But yeah, I just I feel like that sometimes we talk about these things. We talked about these things so much in a sensational manner, like a clickbait manner, and I'm not saying us personally. I'm just saying there was a lot of that out there. Well, but there is some usefulness to it.
Yeah.
And when it's driven down to the individual, like these types of shows, I really feel like that these are the most important things we could do with our time. If you look at, like, entertainment, watching a TV show or listen, you know what I mean? Like, this is so impactful, as we know, because if we just look at our relationships over the last year, like we've been hanging out, maybe a year or something. I mean, I don't know the first time you came on the open mic. I think Elsa was the same. They all came on an open mic about the same time period.
It was a while. I actually only been around for a few months for you. Really, in March.
Of this year?
Yeah.
I thought you came on an open mic last year.
Not last year. It was like probably a month before that or something.
Yeah, there was a couple of open mics. Yeah. I have no sense of time, so we'll go with it.
It's crazy though. You're right though. This is the window right now, and so it does feel like it was, because we energetically we have this connection that's already there, like I do with Elsa. I mean, I feel like I've talked to Elsa for 18 years, but I think we've only we met on Todd's show, Elsa and I.
Was it an open mic?
Yeah, that open mic. Then she found out I was doing those Zoom groups, and so she started to join. And it's as if I've been talking to Elsa every day for a couple of decades, and it's only been a few months. I just barely found out who Franco is. So.
Oh yeah, what happened? What happened with that? Did you have a dimensional experience with him, or did you run into some of his videos, or what?
Yeah, so I had to go find him. It was actually hard work to find him. Not hard, I guess, but normally I don't research. I don't do content. I'm not that person. And especially, I mean, I went off the grid in 2009, and I only came back like 2 years ago, so, anyway, so I kept, every time you brought up Franco, I kept thinking I should find out who he is. And then I would be given the guidance, this energy of just, wait, it's not yet. And it's like, okay, and things, I look at stuff, I watch content, but it comes to me. I don't seek it out ever. And anyway, last night I had this hour that didn't have to do anything, which doesn't usually happen. And I got this feeling, oh, you should go find him. And so I did. And as I was looking for him, I found out that I realized that you're closing down shop in a couple of days in your YouTube channel, so most of your content's gonna disappear. And so I was like, I gotta go find it right now. That's why, Anyway, I have never watched anything that he had ever done, yet I have been interacting with this man for a really long time.
Franco?
And yeah, like I know him. Like I know him. And I was really surprised that this is somebody that you knew too. I'm not surprised, but just like, oh wow, this is I never watched any videos or anything that he was on. I never saw his image in this way. It's been dreams, visions, interactions, and more of like there's places I'll go and do work, and sometimes it's astral, sometimes it's remote viewing, sometimes it's teleportation, and he's often there as part of this team. He's doing stuff. He's actually like doing stuff, and he's like a lead, like okay.
That's right. So that's okay. We got to go into this a little bit because it's coding. So, all right. So he was on the original architect team, as he explained it, for what I guess I'd take a guess at it, like the I don't know if it was the galaxy. Yeah, it was like the galaxy was cut into four pieces, and so this quadrant which is our solar system, Milky Way. Maybe it's the whole Milky Way. I can't remember. And then he had, that's like his thing. That's like his thing is like the director of that, right? Mm-hmm. Like the night that he transitioned, and his partner called me on the phone. I might have told you this, and a blue light appeared over my head as I'm talking to her. I'm like, it's a blue light over my head, And then when we got off the phone, there was a whole group of them in there, but he was the guy heading the show. And he's like, put this thing on his head, turn on the machine, and then he even left while these beings were still there, right? So he has some type of role like that. And then what he did was he popped in many times as like a drop-in, and then just to see what was going on. And then this incarnation that he had as Franco, is what we know as Franco. That was his only incarnation, start to finish. And there's a lot to the story, but like I said, this was a guy who at 17 had a contract with the DOD to build hydrogen-based. He was a Tesla, and among other things. So you're saying that you recognized him when you tapped into him last night. You recognized that you see him there.
Yeah.
And it kind of matches with what he told us. In terms of what I just told you, yeah.
Yes, that's correct. It's exact, and it is the whole Milky Way.
Okay.
When we pull back, most of it, because there's stuff on the outside edge of it that we don't really count, because it's like just coming into it. It just, you can't see me. Anyway, there's this edge that's kind of like dusty stuff that's coming into the area, but that has nothing to do with this quadrant. And this is actually the quadrant. I love that you said quadrant. I like that word because it's true. It's the fourth of it. It's all like, anyway. This is the same area that what my daughter has said, by the way, is that we're currently going through so people call things black holes, and they can be scary and bad, and they're not. They're doorways. They're a better way to call a black hole is like a cleansing gateway. So you would move through it, and there's like filters that pull off the things that don't serve you anymore, kind of stuff. And that's what makes today significant, as the month of Sept means 7. It's the seventh month. It's the seventh day, and 2 + 0 + 2 + 3 is 7. So it's 777. This particular day, I knew that everybody knows this is an awesome day. But my daughter said that we're currently going through, and I did check it out, and we're moving through this looks like a car wash kind of And we're moving into this other frequency. It's like a new universe, I guess is another way of saying it. I deviated a little bit because in this, when I peeked into this, that's actually when I reconnected with this Franco energy. It's really fascinating that it's the same person. He's bigger. He's a lot bigger there than I don't know. I expected to see somebody different, the image of somebody different when I clicked it. And I was like, oh, like he's just so little, compared to what I had been experiencing.
Really?
Oh yeah. He's like big.
Yeah, I would imagine. There's a guy, there's a brother. His name is Buceo Alonge. We've been connected. He's from Brazil, and we've been connected probably since I got off the street, like 2013. We go way back. And we recognized each other. And he never goes on video. I've seen him do one video, one live by himself, right? Where I've asked him to come on the show many, many times. There's nobody that I know of that posts just this wide variety of, substance in content through post. Like I'd love to get him on the show sometime because his level of research and connection is astounding. It's astounding. He's like Elsa is with the words. He's with all the words and the history of the words big time. But anyway, the reason I brought him up and qualified that is because I don't see people out there putting up this 777 thing. You mention it, and he put it up today, right? And it's let's see, what is he quoting here? Remember, all ye, that existence is pure joy, that all the sorrows are but as shadows. They pass and are done, but there is that which remains. And he's got some numbers. I don't know if this is biblical, 2202-9. So then he goes on to say, the sorrows are the ordeals. Spiritual development is accomplished through the reciprocal action of initiation and ordeal. The initiation is an influx or inspiration of wisdom. The new awareness changes our horizons in the world. The ordeal, which we might just replace that with the fuckery, okay? Necessitated by the shift of consciousness, causes us to integrate the spiritual lessons of the initiation into our worldly lives. Mm-hmm. What remains is the capacity to cope with spiritual energies that are more refined and more powerful to cause change than we could handle before surviving the cycles of initiation and ordeal. That which remains affects the consciousness and experience of the subsequent incarnation. So this is, and then he ends with 777. And so this is what I was talking about earlier when I felt like we didn't have it before, we now have the whatever the Pisces thing ended in the Virgo, I don't know all that stuff, but something's changed to the point where I feel like that we can actually do these things in these physical bodies. But anyway, he ends up putting this meme with it, okay? Mm-hmm. 777 as House of God. Yes. And you see the raven it's in a box, and then there's a box in the corner, and it says the image at the left is the hieroglyph of Ahathor, Ahathoor. It is composed of two words. The box that encloses the bird and has the little box in one corner is the word Het, meaning house or temple. The drawing of a falcon, it's a falcon. The drawing of a falcon inside the box is the word Heru, Hur, or Horus, symbolic of the sun god. Together they represent the house of Horus. Het Hor, or Ahath Hor, Horus's house, is the midday sky. Now, I don't even know what the hell all that stuff means, but the fact that he's putting up the 777, and I know this guy, something is going on here. Something's
I,
happening here. You know,
I can
like
explain it. I'm sorry.
no, I'm just saying something is going on. Like because his stuff is tied. Not only does he tie this, I'm talking about Buseo. He ties his stuff to everything. He doesn't have like one thing. Astrology, the Bible, other sacred texts, numerology. He married planetary formations. He ties everything together in the most intricate way I've ever seen. And the fact that he's putting up this 777 thing tells me that what you're picking up on is, and then you have this the whole thing with what started the show with what Elsa's is talking about, getting electrocuted and people saying my battery's going out, is brand new, and I got electrocuted, I'm going to the hospital, and you're talking about blowing out the power over 3 blocks, and like there's this, like, to me it's like this conversion's happening, you know.
For sure.
Well, I mean that's what it feels like to me. Game on, right?
Do you want me to explain the calendar a little bit? Oh,
Go ahead, either one of you.
so just so it's understood a little bit, the short version is, so the Mayan calendar talked about December 21st, 2012, and everybody knew about that and everything, because everybody agreed upon that particular date. When that happened, there was something that occurred. We created that creation. We created that window in the 2012 thing that happened, because if you actually look at it, the calendars have been changed so many times. If you go back and follow the correct path, or let's say how the calendar was being had back when the Mayans wrote that, then the expiration of the Mayan calendar, and starting into a new world, was actually June 21st, 2020. Now think about what the world was like June 21st, 2020. We were having the solstice for the summer solstice on this hemisphere, on the northern hemisphere, as well as there was a solar eclipse, a complete solar eclipse over the continent of Africa. It was the first year that they started to celebrate Juneteenth, which is the African slavery thing. There was just a lot that was occurring. Anyway, now you understand that the calendar has been switched, but we left 4 different mile markers or placeholders in the calendar, so we can see where the calendar used to be. It used to be 13 months. So now we go back and look at the calendar, and we see that sept means 7. So we know that's the 7th month. Oct means 8. You go into all the way to December, which is Dec, means 10. And so now you know where the calendar really is. What I'm trying to say here too is that the 777 portal that happened back in July, we agreed on that. We all said that that's the creation we're going to make, so we made it. This is the real one. This is the real 777. So there's my story. That's my explanation for it. So go ahead, Elsa.
So for I think the last 3 weeks and a bit, we've been in the Bride of the Nile, where she weeps for those days. And it's where the Nile, it's the 2 streams. 2 streams is a very big word for us. It's the name of where we live. We've been in this house from the day of electrocution 1 year. So we were brought to this house. We were brought to these lands, but we had to be ready before we came here. Mm-hmm. And we did this through the floods. Things that we had to do was, before we could shift here, we had to prepare our energy to shift to these crystals that are under the ground where we are now. The Bride of the Nile, she wept until today, and her weeping, her sadness, her sorrow, her contrast, her tears were the ions flowing through her and out, and then reconnecting with Gaia. And they would go into the Nile, and the Nile had the brown water. And what would happen then at the confluence is then the waters would clear up. And today is Isa's birthday here in Oz, not there. I'm in your future. So this day is it's like it's like you said, it's a new charge. 2 streams is what you need for electricity. You need two pair and. You need to be here to act with others and act with Gaia. Now, 777 in my language means being, being, being. And being, being, being at 7 is heaven. And heaven is come about today. To start the new, you can't start a new thing on an old platform. It has to start new. And Pamela's kiddo has brought that about in her playful way. And she's
I watched that.
She like Pamela. Yeah, she like Pamela sees the darkness but smiles about it and keeps playing. It's not like the song ends when she talks about the void. The song she keeps playing. By the way, she had dragon eyes when she was playing it.
Slightly.
So she's got
and
grandpa energy.
Right? I was like looking at her and she was playing. She was playing, like she wasn't even looking. She was just like, and I was like, what the hell? She's like, she's channeling multi-dimensionally. Like it was wild and beautiful.
Yeah. And a cute little smile. Like
with dragon eyes.
And singing.
Fiery dragon eyes.
Yeah. And but this simplicity, this song, this few moments captured by her mum, her friend, her mothership, she captured these moments and Pamela shared them. And through this sharing and this simpleness, we got cope. Now she is acting without, she's allowing. Children are in allowing and surrendering. They're not even surrendering children because they just are. And this is where I feel today is. Today is the 2 streams. Our whole family have been going on about this big thing's coming. We knew this big thing's coming, but we really feel it ramping up right now. And it's not just one family member, it's all of us. It feels like something really big is coming. And it feels like heaven, heaven, heaven.
777.
777.
There's
the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
There you go. Look, well, that's it. The 777, the 21 thing, and that was all big yesterday. Somebody put that up earlier today. But look, there's a sister that lives out by you. I think she's in northern New South Wales or southern Queensland. Ariane Oates. She's in the audience right now. So she put, and she's like you with the whole numbers thing and all the coding and everything. She was on the show about 2 months ago. 7.9 billion on the planet Earth. Someone wrote here, 79 is the atomic number of gold. 7th in 9 months, 79 again. Yes, Pamela, 777 year. September equals 7. Ember is fire. After the fire has completed, she's got diamond, butterfly, and raindrops. She has the same type of talent and other things as Elsa does with that whole, solving the code or explaining the code.
79 is everywhere, all the time for me. Like, that's the year I was born, too.
79? You were born in 79? All these young folks, man. All these people born in the 70s.
Pretty close in age.
Go ahead. Elsa, go ahead.
So Ariana, I know she says not to call her that because she doesn't have an A on the end, but they told me it's Ariane. She's lovely, and she's I call her the Templar one. She carries codes, and she carries them over many realms and many lands, and she can just hold the codes. So she's a Templar one. Then you have our children, they have all their gifts. And then you have Maddie. Then you have other people that we know, they have gifts.
It's okay. You can say
You
her.
have, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You can say her name. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Go ahead. Your name is
it's
Maddie. It's okay.
I feel my heart sunk. Sorry.
I know. I feel it.
She's
Don't.
got
Say you're
dragon eyes.
fine.
She's
It's
okay.
fine. It's all good. Your name is Maddie.
Uh,
I love you.
well, we have people all around the world who have special gifts, and what maybe even might be fun for many to find out what their type is. Like, are you a warrior type? The warrior one always has to be the hero to help everyone. Are you the builder type? Are you the one that builds the blocks back up again? Are you a healer? Are you a code carrier? Sometimes you might have two roles and they play out on each other. And this is great because what happens then is we become like our own ecosystem. We become a colony, and you all work together with your tools or your memories, your man gifts, stories, and you work those man gift stories in your day to day to assist others. But it's not this big effort either. It just has to be something simple, like little Maddie playing this song. That didn't take her years to write the song. It didn't take her days to plan. She just did it, and then it was finished. It was a matter of fact. It was complete, and then she went on to the rest of her day. So these little things that we're doing, if you give them your attention, so attent ions, that's what they're asking. Attent ions. So they're asking you to be, being. They want us to be these three beings within us, so that we give attent to our ions in our actions. So we become creators, not the clones. The clones are the programs, and they are ending, and you do not want to end with the programs.
Right.
I mean, you can if you really want to, but you don't need to. But you have to need the need. Kneel to need. You have to need the need. You can't want it. You have to need it. You have to surrender to it. You have to allow to it. And it's, they make it like you don't have to, it's not about buying anything. It's just about finding it within you, and it's there. And you might need people to help you point you in the right direction, but they can't give it to you either. They'll be able to point you, but they can't give it to you. And there's people that were around that are no longer here, like Dolores Cannon and Franco. They still have their codes, their pointers there. If you can find them and tap into them, they have their codes there to assist. It's amazing. It really is. It's amazing. But you have to find it, and no matter you came here with it. We all did. We all came here with this. No one is greater than the other. The God is within us. We are the 7 sevens. You cannot buy it. It's not in aisle 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. There's the message that my daughter was trying to convey, just to let people kind of have an idea of what's going on, is that this energy is moving through and shifting, and all of us know that this is happening at this time, that something's changing, something's in the air, something's moving, and it's about consent. It's about choice, like Elsa's saying. If you allow yourself to uninvest in the story, then the story lets itself unravel and unfold, and then becoming then it makes it go away, basically, once it's seen, once it's expressed. We're in a very magical time right now. The whole point of this, my talking to Elsa or to Todd, is that I saw I was supposed to do it this years ago, before I even knew about any of the stuff that you guys are talking about, that you guys talk about it. I mean, I just saw Todd's image, and I knew I was going to be on this show with him, which I thought was hilarious, because there's no way in heck I don't even FaceTime. Like, why would I? And then I knew that it was the 44 year, and also Pluto, and Pluto going into Aquarius, and that all happened on my birthday when I turned 44. And that was the first show I was in with Todd. I'm bringing this up because this has a lot of significance. That shows these are the mile markers I've been waiting for. And I've been seeing that we're going to go through what people call a black hole for a long time. And when we go through this energy, what happens is it closes off the frequency echo from a whole different universe that we're not going to be in anymore. It's good. It's a good thing. And we can't, there's no physical phenomenon truly that's really, like, you're not going to one day go, oh, I have 19 legs. Whoa, or anything weird like that. It's just that we slowly transition into the more electric being that you are. And it happens a lot faster when you're up there than it does when you're here. And so, and we have 3 sons. That's why it's so important that so often people bring up Confucius every conversation. And I don't think anyone notices it. And Confucius, the reason it's coming up is because there's 3 sons, and we're supposed to know about the 3 sons that are the triangle. Anyway, all of these symbols, all of these things are in all of my notebooks, and I've been waiting for now. And here we are.
Wait. Okay, let me just understand. Okay, so you have documented this exact time, not this was going to happen, but at this time when you see this happening, because I know a lot of people that have done writing over the years and journaled, they knew this was coming, and you hear a lot of them say, oh, it's finally here, and so on. But what you're saying is that you have certain markers that you were shown, and it coincided with your 44th birthday?
Yep.
Which was this year? Okay,
which was March 27th, and that was when we were supposed to have our first show, but it actually didn't work out.
That's right.
But it was still counted.
Right. So you had this thing, that was a marker, the 777, I guess, that you actually had way back that you're going to be on this show, and et cetera.
Before I even know you had a show.
Okay, and so this...
Jason Estes, you had a Jason Estes. I knew who he was, and I saw you talking to him one time when that's how I found out you existed.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
So I had...
Yeah, go ahead.
So I had You'll Meet a Man You Don't Know from Sedona. And at the time, I was in communications a bit with a friend, with Preston Dennett. And I thought it was I thought him because he said something about Sedona. I thought it might have been him. And then Mary went on your show. And then I started to watch your show a little bit, and I saw this open mic with Pamela, and I saw the energy and the smiles, and so I came on. So through seeing your show and seeing some smiley faces speaking about, these great topics, I came on the open mic that day. That was after the floods.
I remember that.
But before the floods, they showed me the ark, and they said, the big flood's coming, and you're going to meet a man from Sedona, and it's the 2 sons will return. And I was like, what?
That was that would have been. When were the floods? When were the floods? Last summer? That
was the same time as Pamela's talking about.
Yeah.
It's 222. It's March 222. Yeah, that's it. And then that was when we came on.
Well, March is when the shit hit the fan. March 1st was when I woke up. March 1st and said, "There's stargates." They show me stargates all over the earth. That's not really not my role. I don't really get like into it. I knew there's stargates all over the world, like they're opened up or something. And then of course the migration, and you're talking about the arc thing. The arc, my understanding or the best feeling I had for it through all the different transmissions from others around me and my own stuff was, we're building an arc. You have to come off social media and build your own arc, and the people will start to feel it. And by the way, our subscriptions have been, I just realized my first wife, that today's her birthday. She was born on 7, it's a 777 today, right? Our subscriptions for the last 10 days to 2 weeks are just starting to climb. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that for any other purpose than to point out the expansion of that whole thing, which means that more people are leaving the old reality. So when you talk about this black hole and your beautiful child, like I said, to me, I've never seen a soul like her in my life. And playing whatever the hell that was, and singing and not even like, you could tell it was all just spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
But when what she's talking about and what you explain, it's like, that's truly what it's like. That's what I was trying to get at earlier today, and I couldn't say it, right? Is we're going into this thing and it's closing behind us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why I keep this feeling, all this stuff that we've been bogged down in and we've been talking about, all this Mickey Mouse, junior high, Bush League, bubblegum bullshit just goes away.
Yes.
Anything associated with it, whether it's nuclear bombs or whether it's a nuclear drama in your household, all of this stuff just is gone. Like, we go through the thing, it closes behind us, we're still carrying everything. Like Elsa said, Dolores Cannon, Franco, they leave. It's still there, and it's with them too. But we're taking it all with us.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff is literally, it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not there.
You said the thing about
I have to say,
Go ahead.
The thing about
There's a lag.
Drama.
That's why.
Drama. So you brought up the drama, and this is something that in our house we don't actually have drama, and so but we call it llama, the drama llama. It's like a joke, and she had at the end of the message talked about there's a llama all of a sudden that ate a whole bunch of pie and blew up and had their own end of the world. So like that was kind of an interesting story that she was trying to tell there, is that it ate all of whatever it overconsumed and then became no more. This drama, this story, this commitment to this box that we put ourselves in, it blows up as a result of moving through into this place. And one last tier of this I'm going to add, because this is why I was struggling so much with our conversation on our last Trinity transmission, is that this light being that I had interacted with just before that, and Todd kept wanting to know if this was his higher aspect, and I didn't want it to be, because I've been interacting with this other energy in a remote way since I was little, telling me about this time. And so basically if that's true, which they said it was, I've been talking to Todd since I was 6, which is like some guy in Texas I've been talking to, you know what I mean, but in a higher aspect way. And so it's really, there's so many things that all go back to us, supposed to all of us in this moment talking on the computer. Like, it's so bizarre, right? But it all lines up perfectly.
Yeah.
So you bring up arc. So arc is about love, and it's about wanting to create. So he creates a ship. So arc is about pair aunts, so one ones. So he has a vision or a memory or a future or past, they don't know because they still can't prove it. So he has a man's gift, story, vision come to him, and he has to build the ark. It won't leave him alone. It haunts him. He has to build the ark. So he builds the ark with his family, with help of animals, whichever storyline you want to do. He is the crazy dude. So he's building this ark because he knows something's coming. So he gets all the pair ants on the one ones, the one ones, the one ones, the one ones, the frequency, the left, the right foot, the left, the right foot. He gets them on the ark, and then the great flood comes. So it's like a void. It's like a clean out. It's like a recharge, a reboot. Are you getting this? A replay. And then they flip the ship. They flip the ship and they get the new charge. And this is what we have had now. This message is that we are ready. We have the new charge, and now we just keep doing. We keep being ourselves. We enjoy the show, and like Todd is doing this Soulogy, he is sharing the show. Then little Maddie says, snakes in a bucket. What does she say? How does she say it?
Snakes in a bucket.
Snakes in a bucket is a vision I've been having. Holy snake. It has to be holy snakes in a bucket. So, okay, visualize a bucket with a whole heap of snakes now spinning it around. So or eels, electricity, eels, they're spinning it around. And then now they have holes in the bucket, so snakes are shooting out. These are electric charges shooting out, and this is where we are now. This is us charging out. We are ready. It is holy snakes in a bucket. And the little kiddo brought it up. Our kids are bringing it up. And other people around the world, their children are bringing it up. And then other people are speaking, the template ones, the Templars are holding all the codes, they're bringing it up. It's now spinning and the charges are going out, and this is what's happening. And what's happening to Soulogy? He's flipping the ship. 1 year we were. So when the shift happened for us, the 1st of September, which is the 1st of spring in Oz, so fall for USA, when this time happened for our family, I went from being, I don't know if I should be doing this, to being, the cross has dropped enough, it's safe. Mm-hmm. And Pamela is now back on Facebook again. We were told on social media, we're okay, it's all right. It's this big fear thing. It's fine now. It's like had a shudder. We always call it the shudder. Like it just gets. It's like it gets thrown to one side and then comes back again, then resets. And we felt that with a lot of the social media platforms. We were warned so many. Oh, you shouldn't go on there. They'll get you.
They'll get you.
Who? Yeah. Who's going to get me?
Tell me, come get us.
Are they going to get me before the dishes or after the dishes? It's a big part.
Right.
There's another element of that, but Todd was going to talk. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not. No, go ahead. I gotta wind it down because I got a meeting.
All right, we've been talking forever again.
2 hours.
I do this every time, like only with you guys. Everybody else, I'm like, oh, we've been talking forever, and it's like only been 11 minutes.
Well, there's been 185 people. It's like 175, 185 people in here the whole time. So I think it's fine. I think it's good. What were you going to say? What were you going to add?
The last step of that is that, or not last step, but the next step of that is something. The whole point of all of the channelings, all the times that I've been writing these things down and documenting for this window of time is because there's something that I'm supposed to do. And there's a lot of mothers like me who we're kind of just doing stuff while we're waiting for our kids to grow up and do the real stuff, and like, and the next step is that by April 2024, we're supposed to be in a place that's called Noah's Ark. It's the
Oh,
North Ozarks, right? And so, um,
okay.
and that this is in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And
Arc.
I wasn't meant to say this publicly, not until now.
Mm-hmm.
And right now it's okay to finally talk about it. And I'm talking about it because the migration's already begun.
Yeah.
People are from far and wide going to this place. When I first started to get the channel messages about it, I was 16, and I thought I was supposed to do it myself, and I didn't want to. Turns out there's already going to be groups of people there by the time we get there, so it'll be great. Anyway, this is a place where everyone is going, but that doesn't mean that they have to. It's just they're drawn to it like magnets. The mountains are actually crystals that are just barely underneath the ground, really, really big ones. And this is a place that we've all known about. This is a meeting place that many will spend their time, though then there will be a period of what we call the wanderings with a capital W. And we wander. I don't know why or how this happens, but we end up having a big giant break in the continent of America and of water, but then the rest of there's areas where you can walk to more than you could have before. The reason that I've stayed on the western coast is that we were supposed to stay on this side of the mountains this whole time. So I've actually going to Texas when I do that's the farthest east I'll have gone, because we were supposed to stay in the Lemurian and Atlantean continent until it's time to move. You can tell where the line is. The Rocky Mountains is was the coast before, and that's why you have the Salt Flats, Salt Lake. And so there's a spot next to, right in Houston, I guess, is this place that needs to be purged so then the rest of the migration can happen.
Yeah.
When we purge this during the December gathering that we're all going to be at, we're going to heal this place. And we're meant to heal it right before the solstice, which is perfect timing that it happened the way that it was meant to. After that happens, then the land will start to change, and we can walk upon it far distances a lot easier. And so there's the other Ark, Arkansas, in the North Ozark Mountains.
Well, okay. Without going too deep, we can pick it up next week. But because this is a whole show, what you're talking about. Okay, that's an entire whole show, because I know all three of us have intel in regard to it, and we put them all out on the table. It's just going to be like it's going to be a code weaving. But
Did you see that, Elsa?
what happened? So
From here down, you went red.
So, Diamond Heart 888 said portal closing in Houston at Soulogy Fest. That's exactly right. But we literally should talk about this next week, because there's so much there, including what I asked you in the message about your relative, because I don't know how much you want to talk about this, and we can talk about it next week. But that's why I said what exactly happened there, because I know something's going on there. I know that area. I've spent a lot of time over there, beginning in 2016, and that area, that the coordinates that you showed me, is right in the thick of it. And here's the other thing: Dolores Cannon is in that area. James Tiberow, I think I might have said his name wrong. He was in that area. He was huge, and the comment you made about the environment that your relatives lived in and what the man was like fits the description of this guy. And one of the people coming to the Soulogy Fest is a beloved sister who's totally fucking lit, and she's the one that said, I want to come down and do something on Wednesday we need to go to the Gulf. We got work to do. And I'm like, oh my God, you see that? I've been working on this since 2013, 2012. And so you pick up on it. Some of your people pick up on it. So we need to try. And plus, Elsa will have the whole translation and the etymology of it all. So yeah, we should talk about this next week. I think this is very exciting. I like the way that kind of popped in at the end. So
Yeah.
James Tiburon, yeah.
I just
Go ahead.
with the flood, we have had a lot great flooding around the world, and this is reflecting like the solar flows. But the other thing now I'm getting, thanks to Odin, is the flood could be the 1-1s, meaning the flood is actually the water in us is remembering. So it will be a flood of the 1-1s, and I've been getting this for a while since Odin came in June. So it made me feel very excited, because for a long time I always thought floods was like the Lismore floods, and I'm like, oh, but now I'm starting to realize that the flood is actually the 1-1s are flooding up in each person, like each starship or starseed or person in it. The 1-1s are waking up.
Makes
1-1s. So it's a flood of the 1-1s. And today is his birthday, and it's Todd's first wife's birthday, and I'm like, seriously? What? You
It's
can't
Charmy's
make this
birthday
stuff
too.
up.
She's in the audience.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, it's Charmy's birthday.
Oh, Charmy's?
Thank you.
Yeah,
I need to hit her up.
Happy birthday. Thank you
I'm
so
gonna have
much,
her on my
guys.
show in a
Thank
couple
you.
weeks too.
Yeah, you guys. I'll see y'all. See y'all a little bit later.
I love you. Thank
Love
you
you
for this
guys.
fun chat.
Love you
Thank
too.
you.
Love you too.